Hey everybody, it's Ann popping on behind the apron tonight. Happy Monday. I hope you guys are having a great time. I just thought I would pop on here and give you a couple thoughts about what I'm doing tonight. So I'm kind of doing a little bit of an experiment with pizza, and I thought I would talk you guys through it, and then we will talk a little bit about meal planning too, because I've had a couple people reach out to me about that recently. So October is all about pizza. Did you know the whole month of October is about pizza? So it's a pizza month. I made strombolis yesterday. I'm doing pizza today. I know we've even doctored up a frozen pizza already once this month. So I'm just trying to embrace the month that it is because it kind of makes cooking fun. So if you're in a lull, you can Google and find out when the national food months are, when the national food days are, and it's just kind of a crazy fun thing to do. But here's the scoop on my experiment tonight. So Pampered Chef sells a pizza crust in a pouch like this. And I'm sorry I didn't keep the pouch. So it looks exactly like this, but it says pizza crust. And a few weeks ago, I decided to mix up the dough, and then I found out that I was going to be the only one home. So I took a chunk of the dough off and made myself a little personal pizza. But then that dough was already made, so I rubbed it with a little olive oil, I put it in a baggie, and I froze it. And today I decided, okay, I'm going to take it out of the freezer and see what happened to that dough. And you know what? It thawed just fine. And so tonight I'm going to make a thin crust pizza. We like a really thin crust pizza here. And I'm going to then just throw it on one of my favorite stones, the stone with handles, the one that is glazed on the outside. And so I have my pastry mat on my countertop because it's a really easy way to roll out dough, whether you're doing cookies or pie or pizza or whatever. And I'm using the big rolling pin, but you know we sell a lot of the baker's rollers also. And you could put a little flour down or you could put a little cornmeal down. I just decided to go with a little flour since this had been frozen and had a little olive oil on it, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen because some doughs don't freeze very well and others freeze fine. So I'm going to just take and literally toss this. And I did not make a very good round, as you can see. But I'm just going to toss it on the stone because we like a really flat, thin, crispy pizza. And so I'm not even going to make an edge. Okay, if you guys like the crust and you want to make an edge, go ahead and do that. But I am going to season my crust a little bit. So I'm going to put a couple cloves of garlic on it. So I have my handy dandy garlic press here. And I love this thing because as you can see, I never even took the skin off the garlic. Literally, I just popped the whole thing and then there's the skin for the garbage. Put in one more clove. When somebody tells you they've heard garlic is good for you, it is this type of garlic. The real stuff, fresh garlic, okay? Don't think the shaker bottle or the ones in the jar that have the ingredients in them so it'll stay fresh. That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about truly real fresh garlic. So I'm just going to spread this fresh garlic that I pressed around on my flat crust. And I have my oven preheated to 425 degrees. And since this month is pizza month, Pampered Chef's also doing some specials. And then I put some of our Italian seasoning from our pantry line. And then if you've been a Taste Buds subscriber, you know about these pouches. These are pouches of our seasonings that come with meal plan ideas, and they have recipes with them. And the garlic parmesan was sent, I think, I don't remember if it was this month or last month, but it is a wonderful seasoning. And so I'm using it to also season my crust. And so I've just put fresh garlic and then Italian seasoning and garlic and parmesan on the crust. I'm going to throw it in my hot oven that's at 425 degrees. And I'm going to set my timer for just 4 or 5 minutes. I'll peek at it. at that amount of time because I just want it to start to crisp the crust before I put my layering on of the rest of the pizzas. So while that is happening, I'll tell you a little bit about what I'm doing with the rest of my toppings and why I said I'm also going to talk about meal planning a little bit. So I'm going to make a sausage, Canadian bacon, mushroom, onion pizza. And I had some seasoned sausage, so I put it in the 10-inch nonstick stainless steel skillet and used the mix and chop. You guys, I absolutely love these pans. They cook like stainless steel, but they clean up like nonstick. In fact, I should show you if you haven't seen this for a while. There's like this amazing web coating. Oh, of course it doesn't want to zoom into you. It's trying to follow my voice. Let's see. There we go. But it has this web coating inside. So it allows the food to release, but get the results of stainless cooking. So you get that searing. But there's no way I'm going to put all that sausage on top of my pizza. And so I wanted to tell you something else I'm making for a meal this week in case you need some ideas. I bought a spaghetti squash at Aldi's and I will microwave it for just 3 or 4 minutes so it's easier to cut in half. Then I will cut it in half, take out the seeds, drizzle a little olive oil and salt and pepper on it, and then I will pop it in the oven to roast. And then once it's roasted, oh, and Jim's going to sneak in and say hello, everybody. Once it's roasted, I'm going to then take the fork and I'm going to shred out the spaghetti squash. And then I'm going to mix a mixture to fill it with and to bake. And that will be some of the sausage, some of the mushrooms, some of the spaghetti pizza sauce I'm using tonight. So basically it's going to be like a lower carb pizza filled baked spaghetti squash. And I have a recipe in our Second Harvest cookbook, which this is a cookbook I sell with my cousins if you need some inspiration. But I have one in there for spaghetti squash that's got a chicken filling inside. But I wanted to use what I was already prepping tonight so that I didn't have to make a whole nother plan. So I already browned all the sausage so I could do that. Then I'm going to slice some of the mushrooms. And you guys have seen me talk about using the quick slice a lot for mushrooms. But for this recipe, I'm going to use the old-fashioned egg slicer because I want them a little thinner to get done quicker. And don't pull them out. So you can see what I just did there. Just put the next mushroom in and let it do the work and drop out the mushrooms for you. This is also the item people use for hard-boiled eggs. They use it for strawberries, kiwi, things like that. So I love that. So I just wanted to prep those for the pizza tonight, and I will use the rest of those when I'm doing the spaghetti squash this week too. So if you guys make homemade pizza, I'm curious what your toppings are. There's a huge variety of things that you can do. A lot of people are using turkey pepperoni, which is lower in fat, not as greasy, which makes it a little bit of a kick. A lot of people like to dice up jalapeno, give it a little bit of zip on top of their pizza too. But I will tell you, I bought Canadian bacon. We have a small town locker not far from here. For those of you that are local, it's from the Edgewood locker. But they make a wonderful, really super lean pieces of Canadian bacon. So I have that we will use on this too that's local. Let me just check my oven here so I can check this crust. I'm going to leave it in for about 1 more minute. But I do cook my pizzas at 425 degrees, and I'm using the large white stone with handles. But if you buy any of the unglazed stone right now, they can actually be preheated. So I could have slid my crust right onto a preheated stone, and it would have cooked even quicker and crisper. But I already had this one out. But if you are shopping this month, there is a really cool pizza package the Pampered Chefs put together with the pizza peel, the pizza stone, pizza crust mix, you name it. and it's at a discounted price, so that's really cool. So you might want to take a look at that. And if you spend over $80 this month, one of the free gifts is the pizza and crust cutter. So it's got the edge, the square edge on one side to cut the crust if you've made a pizza on a stone like this and went all the way to the edge and you can't roll it up the edge. Or a lot of people love to make their homemade pizzas in the stoneware bar pan. So that's a fun thing to do also. Okay, so let me grab this out. This is not the color that they are currently, but I love these trivets because they don't take much room in the drawer. They're a silicone trivet, so I can put this hot stone right on top of it here to finish building up this recipe. So let me just grab it out. And then a couple other meal planning comments. Sometimes it's really easy if you think about the proteins that you have. So maybe you have chicken breasts on hand. Well, so think about 3 different things you could make in the next 6 days with those chicken breasts. And you can alternate them. But you could, for example, you could cook them all at once if you wanted to. And then they would be quick to shred. So for an easy idea, maybe you wanted to just do, slice them up and put quickly dipped in panko crumbs, and you wanted to do a really quick chicken tender in the air fryer. Then you could cook some more, and it's going to be rainy another day this week. You could do a really fast chicken enchilada soup. And then you could do the chicken baked spaghetti squash I was talking about. So just some different ideas that you have. That's really how meal planning happens. If you think about something that you already have on hand or that you're going to go purchase, and do enough of it so that you can do 2 or 3 different meals out of it, it just saves a lot of time. I have a good friend, Terry, in case, Terry, you pop on here and watch. She loves to plan her whole week at a time. I usually like to do, now that the kids aren't here, I usually like to do 2 or 3 nights planned out for sure for the week so that I know what the action is. And tonight I took the really easy way. I just bought some already shredded mozzarella. So I put my sauce down, and then I put a little bit of mozzarella and a little bit of Parmesan before I start topping the rest of my layers. And then I will just do a layer, like I said, of the Canadian bacon. I will sprinkle some of the sausage on it. I will layer mushrooms, I'll add onions, and then I will top it with a little bit more cheese, and I'll put it back in the oven for about, usually 15 minutes or so. Take a look at it and go from there. I'm really curious if any of you guys have gotten into the pizza craze and have one of those outside pellet pizza oven type grill pizza things. I think those look really cool too. Also, there's a lot of people that are doing pizza straight up on their grill. So I think that's really fun. I'd love to know about that. And then if you guys are needing some meal planning inspiration, put some things in the comments too. And put in there what the most common protein is that you have or use in your home. So whether it's pork, chicken, beef, vegetarian, and then maybe I can put back in the comments to you 4 or 5 new ideas for you to use at your household to do that meal planning. Because meal planning doesn't necessarily mean you're going to cook it all at once, but it means it's going to save you a bunch of time down the road because you're organized and have a plan for it. Okay, so I think that's a great approach to that. I'm just going to pop back over here quick to see what the comments are. Nancy said she did a whole chicken in the air fryer last night. It was excellent. Yes, I absolutely love doing a rotisserie chicken in the air fryer. It's also great to do a rotisserie pork tenderloin in there or a pork loin. So do that. That's a great helpful hint for meal planning too. And in fact, our air fryer sits right over here in its little prominent spot because we use it so often. So I think that's it for tonight though, you guys. I just wanted to give you all a heads up that it's pizza month and there's a lot of fun things going on with Pampered Chef. In fact, with this funny apron, as you can see this, I came for the pizza, I stayed for the dough, Pampered Chef style. We actually have a new consultant kit. You can join our team for $41 this month. We have the Pizza Crust pizza bundle special, like I mentioned. We have a pizza cutter free gift if your order's over $80. So there's so many cool things. So let me know how pizza goes in your house. Let me know if I can help you with a recipe or anything here. I'll finish it. I'll post a picture before I slice into it. Have a great evening. See everybody soon.